Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Redefine Success, Next Gen Lead Management and Customer Service. My name is Mark Brains, and I'll be your MC for this event. We are thrilled to have you all join us here today as we explore how our solutions can help you transform lead management processes and take your customer service to new levels of excellence. But before we begin, let me provide you with a brief overview of our amazing partners and speakers for this webinar. First up, we have Adam Frank. He is VP Solution Consulting at SugarCRM and will present key platform features and insights. Our second speaker is Marcus Guan, Alliances Solution Engineer at Okta. Today, he will focus on the Okta Customer Identity Cloud solution. Last but not least, we have Priska Aprile, a Technical Project Manager at iZeno, who will share some of her experience with lead management and takeaways from a regional customer service implementation. Please type your questions in the chat box as we move through the presentations, and we'll address as many as possible within the available time. Before I hand over the mic, I'd like to share a little bit about iZeno and a brief intro to the topic at hand. Okay. iZeno is a regional tech services and consulting company with operating offices in Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, and the Philippines. Our motto is, your challenges, our commitment. And this is truly how we've thrived since 2003. Our expertise is geared towards digital transformation, and for over 2 decades, iZeno has helped enterprises with our core capabilities in customer experience, DevOps, ITSM, and many more. Now, it's hard not to stumble across fun facts while preparing for a next-gen webinar, so here's a few data insights that caught my attention. According to Statista, the internet is around 120 zettabytes and growing fast. ChatGPT tells me that 1 zettabyte is really, really big. And it's unlikely that Q-Ball is going to stop analyzing anytime soon. Fortunately, we can better control data through platforms like SugarCRM and Okta. Sugar helps businesses streamline sales, marketing, and customer support processes. Okta is a renowned identity and access management platform that helps organizations secure their digital environments. And iZeno's team of experts are here to lean on these platforms to drive tangible results. Now, let's move on to the main focus of today's webinar. Please join me in giving a warm virtual welcome to the first speaker, Adam Frank from SugarCRM. Welcome, Adam.
Thanks so much, Mark. Very much appreciate that warm welcome. I'm really grateful to be invited to participate in this session today. And I very much also enjoyed seeing your diagram of what good architecture could look like. And when we think about next gen and the future, there's a lot of tech we could talk about, and you've identified a number of those pieces already there. And I believe we've got that famous quote from William Gibson, who once said that the future is already here. It's just not very evenly distributed. So, let's look around, where is the next gen? Indeed, when I first thought about where the next gen was, my thoughts went to J-Lo. But then, my wife corrected me. Next gen was probably Jennifer Lawrence. Okay. But what about when it comes to the next gen in lead generation and customer service? To be honest, I think it's very similar to the next gen in HR, in financial advice, and many other spaces. It's about looking at automation in a post-COVID world. It means that we're thinking about the things that were previously human tasks, human actions, and working out how to reduce cost, how to be more efficient, and to derive a competitive advantage from this. Now, when I think about the contact centers that I work with, everything boils down to some very, very simple metrics. Average handling time, first reply time, first resolution time. And you know, seconds count here. Anything can make a difference. So I'm going to say this plainly to sort of kick things off. Generative AI, that's what I think is the next gen. It will save you seconds, can save you minutes, and eventually will probably save you a lot more than that. And this is not just for your customer service teams, not just for the teams handling your inbound leads. This is hitting every single industry. So you may have heard recently that JP Morgan recently trademarked Index GPT. And in their filing for this, they confirmed they plan to use the same GPT models that we can see OpenAI publishing everywhere else. So it seems to be like an AI program to select and recommend financial securities. So just think about that for a moment. Instead of you working with your broker or your financial advisor to work out what you should be investing in, imagine if there was a tool, a bot, an application, an Index GPT, which is answering your questions for you. And it has read more content than any financial advisor has ever known or been able to hold on to in their head at one time. That's pretty crazy. That's the potential to disrupt the entire financial advice industry. Bain and Company, one of the biggest consulting companies in the world, they're starting to roll out ChatGPT in their engagements. And one of their first headline customers using it is Coca-Cola. That's Bain. Whenever I hear these big consulting firms, I often think, what would McKinsey say about this to their clients? Well, let's find out. So we've got this quote here from April 2023. By enabling the automation of many tasks that were previously done by humans, generative AI has the potential to increase efficiency and productivity, reduce costs, that's the one we're looking for, and open up new opportunities for growth. As such, businesses that are able to effectively leverage the technology are likely to gain a significant competitive advantage. Right in the mark. Thanks to McKinsey. And that's only April of this year. But if you're a little bit clever, you probably know that this isn't really McKinsey. This is ChatGPT being asked about what impact generative AI will have. And I asked it to give us an answer in the style of McKinsey so that we could all be fooled for a moment. But let's be a bit more practical. How do we translate this to your inbound lead teams, your outbound lead teams, your customer service teams today? What is that significant competitive advantage? So very simply, Mark said earlier that we've got, 120 zettabytes of data out there, and it's counting. So the little graph, if you looked at it, it was set to increase by 50% over the next 2 years. So from 120 to 180 by 2025. It's a lot of data out there. So can a tool, can a platform, can the software that any one of these people use, can it quickly summarize those zettabytes for me? And for the person that I'm talking to, whether they're calling up with a complaint, a problem, or they've raised an inquiry about one of the products that I sell, can it analyze all that data and just tell me, what do I need to do? What's the best way to offer a helping hand or to deliver personalized service or a sales pitch, which is right on the money for what this person is interested in? That's the competitive advantage. So let's take a quick look at what that feels like for somebody in lead management. So let's imagine for a moment that we've had an inquiry that's come in from somebody at Memorial Hospital, and if I'm in the inbound team there, I've got this inquiry that's appeared, and in an AI-driven platform, the first thing is that when somebody gives you, fills in a form, you should be getting out a whole lot more than what you put in. So when I open up that record for Sarah Smith from Memorial Hospital, sure, I'll see her contact details, but far more than that. I'm going to get all this insight about her background, as well as some prompts to figure out what are the subsequent questions that I should be asking about this. So whether it's a history, their competitors or key people, all of that can be brought into one place. Now, if I'm planning to go and put in a call into Sarah, what if I want AI to generate that call script for me? So I can ask the platform to actually create a call and pre-fill my call notes with a personalized sales pitch of What should I be talking to this individual about based on everything we know about them? Now, that's just a very super simple starting point, really. But the idea here would be that once you're actually on the call, or if this is chat, for example, in either case, a good AI-driven platform can provide further insights to guide that conversation. So maybe you're going to get some secondary questions or lines of inquiry that you should be pulling on. And it should be doing that based off all that data that it's got available there. So for a lead management team, what can it do? It can reduce the time that it takes to prepare for a call and still deliver that personalized pitch. And although in this example, it was about call scripts and questions, but as somebody moves down that funnel, that can turn into the emails that are going out, the proposals that are going out, the full documentation, all of that can be generated with generative AI. So that's on the lead management side of things. What about your customer service teams? If we take that same customer, Memorial Hospital, and we ask ourselves, well, they've raised an issue, they're not very happy about something, it's going to trigger off an escalation. And as an agent, one of the first things I might want to be doing is, let me ask my system, dictate basically, tell me about the open escalations that I have in the platform. We can go out and actually figure out who and where are those escalations existent. Here's one for Memorial Hospital. And if I want to dig into the underlying information about that particular issue, it's worth noting that as an agent, when I first open up a ticket or an issue to look into, I'm going to see this large history of emails and call notes and tasks and things which I would need to read. And it's a lot of content to get through. In fact, in a real world scenario, what actually happens here? Your customer is placed on hold while the agent reads all of those emails and they try to get themselves up to speed. And it's hard for the human to actually put together all the data points. Or alternatively, we have an even poorer experience where the agent doesn't read it all. They see the blocks of text and they just go, I'm sorry, Mark, you've got a lot of emails here. Can you just re-explain your life story to me now? And force the customer to actually tell them everything which they told your colleagues. Both of those are incredibly poor experience and they waste time. A good AI-driven platform is going to look at all this content and provide you with some form of smart summary where you can see the key points highlighted for you. You might notice that actually false alarms have been happening. And as a decent agent, you might then think, what? I think that I've been hearing about a few other false alarms. Let me just ask the platform again. Let me dictate a question in. Tell me about when this has occurred recently. And oh, wow, there are a whole heap of them. Let me send that off to my manager and maybe provide some kind of offer that should go with it. So very quickly, even as an agent, I don't need to know very much about how the platform works to actually be able to pull out all of this detail. Now, in that scenario, we're going to see those handling times go down by simply reducing the effort required to catch up on this customer account. And then obviously being able to provide advice as to what to do next. But we're not helping just the folks on the ground here. We're also helping the managers deal with broader issues by enabling team members to identify problems using natural language instead of having to use any kind of report builder. And this is where we can obviously go that next step. If we know that customer experience is going to be a differentiator and the pressure point is how do you deliver better customer experience while spending less time, this is how. We let the platform do the work. We bring all that content together and make it super easy for humans to focus on the bits that humans do best, being human. Now, key to note is that in each of these use cases, we're focused on a business outcome. How do you get that competitive advantage? The platform is automating the slow parts out of the job. So we're quite literally reducing average handling time by getting your teams the insight they need and helping them take action. Everything's just moving faster. Now, it's worth noting that there is a risk here, right? There is a risk that when you move faster, you can break things. And you don't notice the problems that arise or don't think about the consequences. For example, I remember just a couple of months ago, we had an issue where Samsung engineers asked ChatGPT to fix some code in like their internal proprietary source code kind of stuff. And when they sent that code to ChatGPT for analysis, what they ended up doing was they made their confidential code part of its data set. Which is pretty shocking when you think about it. In Sugar, we're grateful to have learned from examples like that in designing our approach to generative AI. So instead, we use GPT models to translate that human request into what it means as far as a query into our system is concerned. So your customer's personal data doesn't go into their system. It always stays where it's meant to. And, you know, protecting customer data, protecting customer identity, that's incredibly important to us. And it's going to be the bedrock of anything that we do in our forays into generative AI. So you saw some piloted sort of work just then, Ellie, in those videos. That's all predicated with these principles in mind. Now, obviously, we're not the only ones on this call today who care about identity management. So with that, I'd love to hand over to Marcus from the Okta team to really dig into customer identity and access management.
Thanks, Adam. Thanks for the warm welcome. All right, so really interesting, Adam, the contents that you have and see how things are moving in the markets today, right? So hi, everyone. I'm very grateful to be here. Thanks, iZeno and SugarCRM to have me in these sessions. Allow me to talk about identity management, right? So once again, I'm Marcus from Okta. And today's topic is about identity, right? So very good segue topics from what Adam have mentioned, right? So you can see how the market are changing today. JP Morgan have their index GPT, right? And that is driven by generative AI that powered their new online platform. But let's take a step back and think about it. When all these businesses shift to a digital world, what happened is they still need to have a front door, right? And typically the front door is where we authenticate the users, where we validate how and who is the users, right? Are you who you say you are, right? And this is a very inspired by Adam. So I look out for a very interesting pictures to start off my topics today. So many times when we want to access digital services, there is always a front door whereby we need to authenticate ourselves. And it's always a balance between the security and users experience, right? You make it too difficult for the users, you lose the attention of the users. And I believe most of you in this call might have some experience whereby you try to access, it could be an e-commerce platform or any sort of online services. It make it too difficult for you to register an account or even log in to enjoy the services, and then you will go into the competitors. You will explore other competitors. So very much like what Adam had mentioned about the competitive advantage, users experience versus security is something that organizations always want to balance out. Looking at this diagram, 2 years back, I used to talk about how COVID hit the world and then how business start to do digital transformation. Make sure they stay relevant, make sure they stay competitive, right, by providing their traditional business in the digital world. But in today's world, as Adam have talked about the generative AI and demonstrate how does it power SugarGPT, right? A lot of organizations also start to move their services online with the advantage, tapping on the advantage of large learning model. Right, so you can see these are a few of the services that are leveraging on with Okta to power their services online, but at the same time protect their users' data with Okta being the authentication front end. But it's interesting to learn, right? Today, when we talk about authentication, registration, it's not just about security. In many contexts, the authentication piece become the first digital footprint touch point for your users. That also means we can provide a lot of data to give your users more engagement. We can capture the conversation and we can also give the users a better user experience. all these data are very valuable, whereby when we integrate with SugarCRM, they can leverage on this data to have a more tailored user's experience. I will talk about that shortly in my another slide, but bear in mind, my topics today is to talk about where Okta can do the authentication and secure your data. At the same time, in other contexts of the user's experience, we can contribute to the user's experience. But many organizations, when they start to consider how should they protect their users' data, how should they authenticate the users, it always doesn't start off that easily, right? So there are a few things that a lot of organizations need to take into consideration. Number one, depend on where you are, which part of the geolocation you are. Probably you are bounded with a set of regulatory and compliance. So the privacy is one thing that are top of mind in many organizations, right? Apart from that, many organizations also look at the security aspect. How do we ensure the sales are who they say they are before they can log into SugarCRM to look at the user's data, right? What about the customer services? We want to make sure the agents are the right agents, they are not being breached. Therefore, the security is also one of the important key. But by considering all this privacy and security, another aspect is to make sure the login process, the registration process are easy and frictionless. And that's pretty much where all the users are expecting today, right? When you try to access certain e-commerce platform, you probably have this kind of mindset. It must be easy, it must be user-friendly, but at the same time, your data are safe. So these are the different considerations. And when we talk about building this on your own, it's even harder, right? So if you look at from the left-hand side, it always start off with how do we validate the users? And as the platform start to evolve, take for example, IndexGPT, when they started off, probably just username logins, right? But moving on, if let's say they want to modify and enhance the user's experience, probably by allow you to log in with the platform using your mobile devices, using passwordless form of authentication. Do they have the capability to make the changes at the back end is one of the showstopper for them to evolve and make it easy for the users to adopt their services, right? And as we go on to the chart, things like when they want to do a transactions, how do we secure them with a validation of multi-factor authentication? Those are things that typically add on to the technical depths if the underlying platform are not built properly, right? So those are the things that you will observe when you start to go into the build your own authentication piece route. So these are some of the statistics that I collected from IBM Data Breach Report. You can see on average, data are very valuable, right? So all the bad actors, they are all out to get the data. And when we shift the services online, what does the bad actors do? They follow the good guy, right? They are smart and they target your online digital services as well. And you can see there's a huge growth in terms of the data breach causes. On average, ranging from 3 million plus up to now already surpassed 4 million plus, right? So that is the trend of the security threats. So this is where Okta can come in. So our Okta Customers Identity Cloud platform provide you an omni-channel experience whereby you can secure your users' authentication, registration across different devices. This is enabled by using our universal login features. On the right-hand side, you can see there's a snapshot of one of the applications on mobile devices. And it looks and feels the same on other devices, on your mobile web or even on your tablets. This will give your users a seamless and frictionless kind of experience. And you can see by using Okta as the authentication platform, we can easily enable third-party authentication. Take for example, we can allow your users to access your platform using their Google account, using their Apple ID. That will allow them to have a more seamless and frictionless kind of registration process. You don't need to create another separate account with a separate password. And it doesn't just stop on the authentication piece, right? Because we are the front door, we are the ones securing and authenticating the users. We also have the capability to identify who you are, what's your role and responsibility, right? So coming back to Adam's demonstration on the different screen for the sales when they are accessing the sales data, and when the customer service agents log in to see the history of the cases, when they authenticate, Okta will be able to identify based on the user's identity, what platform and what data they should be able to access, right? So this can be done by Okta as well. Something deeper into the security portions, a lot of conversation that I have with prospect and organization is the concern of the friction, right? Where we introduce things like multi-factor authentications or a captcha in front of the portal, how does it affect your user's experience, right? I believe most of you guys, when you use some form of online services, you might have encountered a captcha popping up and ask you to select, the zebra crossing or select the bicycle. So in Okta's context, we believe we only introduce frictions when that is needed, right? So within the platform, we are able to, because we serve over 1,000 customers today, and we handle over billions of authentications daily, we have the set of data to understand what is risky and what is legit users, right? With that, we enable the features to allow you to introduce frictions only to risky users. You can see in my platform screenshot here, we have the features whereby you can enable only introduce captcha when the users are risky. In this kind of format, you will allow the legitimate users to log in without any frictions, and only introduce captcha and this kind of validation when the users perform risky. And it doesn't just stop in the captcha portions. In our anomaly detections engine, we provide different signals, things like where the users are logging in from, whether the user's credential have been breached somewhere else, right? What is your IP reputation? Is your IP coming from a bad actors? And different type of signals will contribute to our anomaly detections. This will allow us to balance up the user's experience versus when to introduce security validations. This is kind of like a busy chart. This is like the high-level architecture of our authentication pipeline, right? To make it simple, from left to right, this is where a users authenticate and where Okta issue you have successfully authenticated. Why do I bring up this chart? It's because Okta doesn't just stop at the front login page. In between the login, we are able to detect things like users are logging in from which geolocation, which city, when was the last time she or he logged in, right? Informations like what devices or what browsers the users are logging in from, right? Is the locations mismatched from where the original address of the users. This data can be piped over to SugarCRM in terms of marketing lead or even in terms of customer services. We are able to identify in the user's profile and enhance the data in SugarCRM. That is part of the authentication pipeline. That is part of our extensibility to third-party solutions. All right, so wrapping up my topics, there are 3 things that I want you guys to take away in my sessions today. Because you can leverage on Okta to front the authentication and registration page, that also means that you can go to market faster. Your developers can focus on the application and the business need of the applications. Authentication are fully funded by Okta. With the authentications fronted by Okta, we being the first digital touchpoint, we can help to improve users' experience, integrate with SugarCRM to provide more tailored data so that the data are more relevant to in terms of sales lead, in terms of customer services. Last but not least, in terms of security, right? We provide the full-fledged of security measures to protect users from unauthorized access, bot detections, anomaly logins. These are the things that will help organization reduce risk, right? Prevent from data loss. So that's my sessions. I hope it's useful. And Adam and myself can talk a lot about the platform itself, how the product works. I will hand over to Priska to show you guys the real use cases in the real world. Right, Priska, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Marcus, for such a very insightful take on the customer identity management using Okta. Balance the privacy, identity, as well as the customer experience. All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Priska Aprilia from iZeno. So today I will be sharing real life use cases about lead management and customer service solutions based on our implementation experience for one of our customers within the let me give me 1 second. So within the financial services industry. So the first part of this presentation will be focusing on customer service. So the first part of this presentation will be focusing on the lead management solution, which empowers the financial advisors during the sales process. And the second part of this presentation will be, we will be looking into how we will be looking into a case study where financial service organization empowers customer service to deliver that exceptional customer experience. All right, without further ado, let's jump into the first part of this presentation, lead management in the financial services industry. Before we deep dive into the details about the lead management solution, I think it is very important for us to take a look at the unique characteristic of the financial services industry. The financial services industry has a wide range of products and services. For instance, in the insurance industry, they can have life products, health products, like general insurance products. This is where we see financial advisors play an important role in educating prospective customers about these products and services, guide them through, build that personal relationships and trust, guide them through the decision making process. We also observe that the financial services industry has a very distributed networks as well as customers. Leads in an organization can be generated from multiple sources, right? It can be generated from social ads, can be generated from marketing campaign microsites, can be generated from the contact form on your website, the bank partners, renewal leads, or even from the analytics tool, which generates leads for cross-selling and upselling opportunity. So how can a financial services organization aggregate leads from these multiple sources, distribute, and also connect them with the right financial advisors? This is where a centralized lead management solution like SugarCRM can help a financial services organization to centralize and streamline the lead management processes. All right, so once all these leads from multiple sources are aggregated and imported into the SugarCRM platform, the financial services organization can leverage on the SugarCRM workflow to automate the lead routing process. For instance, a lead that is generated within, let's say, Kuala Lumpur region, right? And with an interest in, let's say, a life insurance product. So we can use the automation tool to actually route this lead to a financial advisor within the same geographical region as the lead and with the same product specialization. So this will help financial services organization to route the leads to the right financial advisors to avoid lead wastage. This can also ensure that the financial advisors receive the fair amount of leads. Let's take a look at the sales process within the financial services industry. So the sales process within the financial services industry can be very complex. It involves multiple stages. So streamlining and guiding the financial advisors through qualification, analysis the needs of the prospective customers, even handling the objections are very crucial in maintaining a consistency, efficiency, as well as reducing the risk of the leads dropping out of the pipeline. So with this, we see that the smart guide from the SugarCRM platform can help financial services organization to accelerate its onboarding processes. So we have seen how the SugarCRM platform can help the financial services industry in automate the lead routing process, accelerate its onboarding processes. Now we will be seeing how the SugarCRM platform empower the financial advisors with mobility access. So like Marcus has mentioned in his presentation, identity management is very important, right? While maintaining that customer experience. This holds true to the experience, to delivering that exceptional login experience and seamless login experience to the financial advisors. So the SugarCRM platform can be integrated with agent portal through customer identity management solution like Okta to provide that seamless login experience. So the financial advisors can reuse their login credentials from the agent portal to log in and authenticate into the Sugar application without having to remember another set of credentials. So financial advisors receive instant push notifications on their mobile apps for lead assignment. They are provided with an option to acknowledge lead within a specific configurable amount of time. A reminder notification can also be sent to the financial advisors for the leads that they have not been acknowledged. So why we do this? This is to ensure that the financial advisors provide a timely response to the leads that are assigned to them, to engage them while these leads are still hot, and eventually increases their chances of converting these leads. The financial advisors also can plan their activities on the go, and the financial advisor can also have access to the lead information to have that necessary information to provide that personalized experience. So this will enable them to build that trust and stronger relationship with the leads. The financial advisors can also leverage on the SugarCRM platform to plan and schedule their activities on the go. For instance, they can use the platform to create meetings, schedule the calls, to capture the meeting notes, as well as to keep track on their task. So this can help them to stay organized, track the progress, and also improve their productivity. So one more thing that I would like to share here, the financial advisors are also enabled to collaborate with their peers and also managers to receive the inputs. So the collaboration. So if you see here in the second screen, this is how I see my lead information with the contact information from my lead. And the third screen here shows how my manager see my lead information. So my manager will not be able to see the lead information. This enables me as a financial advisor to receive inputs from my peers and also my managers, while without having worried that my lead information might be exposed. All right, now let's take a look how financial advisors and also management can monitor and progress and productivity. So the management and financial advisors can monitor the sales metric through reporting and dashboards. So they are able to quickly identify the trends, drill down into the details of the trends, and take necessary actions. All right, that's the first part of this session, and we will take a look at the second part of this presentation. So this our case study on the customer service management is based on our implementation experience in one of the multinational financial services company. This solution was implemented in 5 countries in the Asia region, which includes Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, Taiwan, and the Philippines. So before implementing this customer service platform, the company faced challenges in facilitating the information sharing across region. The main reason behind this is because each operating entity speak their own language. What I mean by speak their own language is that there was no standardized regional process and definition to follow. So each operating entity in this country use multiple tools to track customer requests from various channels. Because the data resided in these parent systems, it made it difficult to generate actionable insights. Of course, these challenges pose opportunity to us. The need to develop master processes and 360-degree view, which aggregates all the data from multiple sources, was a core driver for this project. This resulted in a big wins for everyone, including the regional office, the operating entities, and also the customer service teams, as well as ultimately the customer experience. So the initial strategy of this project were driven by 4 pillars, and this still respected the localized regulatory requirements. So during the strategy sessions, business process were modeled, automated wherever it is possible, and streamlined wherever it is not possible to do so. Sugar knowledge base was used for improving customer experience and driving the first call resolution. So before the implementation, this company has these operating entities have multiple inboxes. After this implementation, multiple mailboxes that serve customers, partners like hospitals, bank partners, agencies, were consolidated into one single platform. And system integrations with the surrounding systems like back office system and also core insurance supported the 360-degree view and helped drive straight through processing. So within the first 6 months of this project, the customer service team experienced a significant improvement in the customer handling time as well as report generation. These improvements can be attributed to the powerful of the customer and policy 360-degree views. And of course, the success of this project has helped us extend the solution to the field agents to manage sales and recruitment lead. iZeno has also worked with insurance broker to automate the opportunity management as well as policy renewal processes. All right, so we are talking about next gen, right? So what is next? As a highly configurable lead management and customer service management solution, our platform can be integrated with just any system. Now everyone is talking about generative AI, right? So our platform can also be integrated with generative AI to help the customer service team to build knowledge base and also to summarize call transcripts and email contents for them so they can deliver an exceptional customer experience. Okay, let me end my session by saying the path to next-gen success is not a fixed roadmap, but a series of transformative milestones. We should embrace the evolving landscape of technology, adapt to new trends, and continue to redefine success as you progress. Now back to Mark for Q&A.
Great. Thank you so much, Priska. And to all of our speakers for the enlightening session. So now we've reached the Q&A segment, and I'll pick up any questions that have been posted in the chat. So I responded to a question during the session, which is related to slides. A curated version of the slides will be available for anybody that's interested in keeping a copy. And if you are interested, just reach out to us and we'll share a copy of those slides with you. Okay, so we have a question here. The first question is, did you say that SugarCRM can filter out sensitive data when using tools like ChatGPT? I see Adam's typing, but I guess, Adam, do you want to maybe just answer it? You can type as well, and then maybe just answer verbally. I think it might be easier for everyone.
Absolutely. I actually had stopped typing because I kind of figured, given that we'd reached the Q&A portion, we may as well just discuss it live. So in the example that we actually saw live today, we didn't send any sensitive data to an external system. So it's less about do we filter it and more do we even do that at all. So what we ended up doing was we used the GPT model to translate the human query, the question, tell me about open escalations, tell me about false alarms that have happened in the past. Like, we've turned questions like that into a request against our own system. So the only bit that actually went out of the system was the actual initial question, tell me about escalations. We did the rest of it in-house. Yeah, hopefully that addresses it. To be clear, not sending out sensitive data, we're applying the techniques against internal stuff instead.
Great, thank you very much, Adam. And I see there was another question that's already been answered by Marcus, but maybe you can just clarify this for us. So Marcus, can Okta integrate with our on-prem identity solutions?
Right, so that's really a great question, right? Because Okta is a pure SaaS solution, right? But integrating to an on-prem application is one of our advantage, or one of the components that we provide as well. So in many projects and many environments, right, a lot of organizations are using Okta for kind of hybrid environments. So yes, we can integrate with on-prem CRM system as long as they support protocol like SAML, OpenID Connect. Even for the traditional protocol, we do provide a component called Access Gateway, which is kind of like a gateway for us to connect your on-prem CRM or other application to Okta in the cloud.
All right. Thanks so much, Marcus. So I'm still waiting for some more questions to come through in the chat. Does anyone, we have about 9 minutes left in our webinar. Does anyone have any questions that they would like to raise with the panelists? Okay. Let me just catch up with the chat. Okay. 3, 2, 1. All right. Thanks, Supang. Very nice feedback. Yeah, it doesn't have to be a question. Your feedback is also very welcome. So, okay. On that note, yeah, I just want to, as you can, please feel free to raise any questions. We still have a few minutes, but as we approach the end of the webinar, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to our distinguished speakers from SugarCRM, Okta, and iZeno for sharing their expertise and valuable insights. Your contributions have provided us with deeper understanding of next-gen lead management, customer service, and secure access management. I'd also like to thank all of you, our participants, for joining us today and actively engaging in the session. Your presence and thoughtful questions have been, welcomed. Before we conclude, I encourage you to explore iZeno's lead management system, SugarCRM, and Okta's identity and access management platform further to discover how the integrated solutions can empower your organizations and redefine success. On behalf of iZeno, SugarCRM, Okta, and the entire webinar team, thank you for your time and participation. We wish you continued success in your lead management, customer service, and security endeavors. Yeah. Thank you, everyone, and have a fantastic day.